Oh, and your camera's doing that weird thing again.
It'll
Okay.
zoom in automatically on its own.
Okay.
God bless it. Although the weird thing is,
Oh yeah, you need to be closer to it.
And we are live.
all right, let me make tiny signs.
Okay.
Well, that's weird.
I know.
It's a real good camera though, isn't it?
It's a great camera.
Quality's amazing.
And we sound good. So
Yeah, that's the important part. It'll just be a
Right.
zoomed in vision of my face, and then people have to.
I'm sure it'll be fun. If not, they'll just, turn it off.
So we're live, no echoes you can hear. I know the music will be higher,
Right. But otherwise, we're fine.
and you guys won't hear the
Yeah.
sound effects that I got from you. So let's start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all are listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.
Shut up and sit down.
Here we go!
Would you kindly? I think we're just getting started. Medic! I'm a witcher.
I think this is more than you can handle.
He sits on his ass all day.
Let's do this.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 762. Today's December 10th, 2023, if I could say that. This is the Overseas Connection podcast, the return of the gentle ginger giant. We do this show every Sunday. Maybe one person, maybe multiple people, on occasion, nobody. And when we do nobody, it's like we weren't even ever here. But no, we really do try and get it pretty much every weekend, giving you a little bit of entertainment right around 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. in the East Coast. Who cares about Central Time Zone? And 9 p.m. in the UK. Yeah, we do this on Twitch. We do it on YouTube. So look, if you are watching either live or from the recording, like and subscribe. Do that following business. Give us a little bit of publicity. We could use it. Okay. I introduced myself, Greg DeLacy, Gamertag Murphy's Law, OC_Murphy's Law on Twitter, in case you hadn't heard that before. But importantly, I want to the most important person to this podcast ever on the show today, Kim Woods.
Funny, I really thought he was going to say Pete.
I know.
Get off. As if.
Huh?
As if he was.
No, Kim, you
Yeah,
Kim,
that's
you are
me.
like a bedrock. You are a steady Eddie, even though you're not Eddie. Although in this world, who knows? You could be Eddie if you want to identify as that. But no, I know you were actually not on last week as well, but that's okay. No, you were on last week. I take that all
No,
back.
I was on last. Yeah, it was me
Yeah.
and Robin last week. So
It was the week before that.
yeah, there was 2 weekends in there because I had Thanksgiving like back to back. So.
Yeah, you're not allowed. By the way, there are rules in America. You're not allowed to have multiple Thanksgivings unless you're like
Whoops.
divorced or a stepchild. All right, and
Right,
speaking of
yeah,
children, kill the child.
Yeah, that is Owen, my nephew.
I'm kidding.
so
We
he's
like
4.
the nephews.
Yeah, right.
It's
So
kind of
anyway,
like,
that's me.
yeah.
So
You ever see that news show where the kid sneaks into the segment behind the guy doing the news?
yeah,
That's what's
Oh,
going on right
man.
now. That's
That is
exactly
what's
what's
go-
happening right now.
he's not quite like Anthony and knows what's going on. So he'll probably be
Right.
back. I'm sure. Maybe bringing a cat or 3. So
Oh, he's totally dismantling your back shelf, so that's okay.
I'm sure.
Yes.
I wouldn't
Oh no,
surprise me
he
at all.
is. Yeah,
So.
yeah, okay. Hey, on the podcast, Pete Chin, welcome back.
Less importantly, good
Yeah,
evening.
you know,
from
You're ginger. What do you
Birmingham.
expect?
In fact, looking behind me on the video, it looks like I'm in Jersey. I'm actually not. I'm in Birmingham. I'm glad to be back. Hello.
Pete, we are glad to have you back.
Oh,
Indeed.
thank you.
Yeah. Robin is away doing racing things, so we won't hear from him today. That's
Wait.
okay.
Racing or racy? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he does have an OnlyFans channel now, so that's
Right.
part of his retirement. He's living the life. He is being a full-time streamer, part-time dad, and an OnlyFans subscriber and supporter and promoter and content maker. All of those things wrapped up into one.
He's a sexy beast, though, isn't he? He'll have thousands and thousands of people after him.
He is. I've seen him naked more than once, and I'm not proud to say that, actually. All right. Yeah, let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about. We're catching up on life events, so we'll start there. Let's get into a little story time.
Everyone here loves story time, our favorite time of the day.
All right, so we've got to start with Pete. Pete, you haven't been on the show in forever. You've officially, I believe, been laid off now. Sorry, made redundant. That has all happened. That's transpired.
Not officially.
Not officially.
Oh,
No. I'll finish on the 14th of December. But
Okay.
the centre where I work has closed, and it closed on the 30th of November. So pretty much from that day, I've just been doing the odd email here and there and getting rid of a few things. There was a last minute flurry of stuff that needed to be stored in the house where I live, which is on the actual property of where I work. So I've been getting rid of those items as time's been going on. It oddly feels like a month or two has passed since that date. It's been quite I don't know. It's just felt like absolutely ages after it's closed, but it's literally only just over a week, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's nice. 2 weeks. It doesn't even feel like that. It feels a lot longer. But yes, I'm not working anymore at the centre, but I've been non-stop on my narrowboat. I have been non-stop. I've literally got 11 weeks now until I'm homeless. And
Well, you have a home on water, so you're not really homeless.
Well, I couldn't move on.
Or is this like living out of a car, Pete? Is that really what's happening? Is this kind of like living out of a car?
Well, it would be living out of a car if I moved onto it now. There's not much on it now where I could actually live a life with Shell. There's just nothing on there. There's no toilet on there yet. There's no laminate flooring. There's no kitchen installed. There's a few radiators that need putting on. So it's not ready. There's 11 weeks to go. There's a lot of work to be done, and I've literally just been putting all of my time into that. By the time I get back, I'm absolutely just blown out. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I've been going to bed every night, I'd say for 9 o'clock, 9:30 at the latest. Like I'm just burnt out. It's physical work. It's tiring.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say but that. And
so there's a big part of me that feels really bad for you, and so I'm being sympathetic to your situation. There's also a massive part of me that just wants to make fun of you on repeated things. You know, the toilet should have been the first thing to go in. I can't believe you don't have a toilet. There's the question of you haven't been on the podcast for weeks on end, so what the hell have you been doing?
Yeah. There is that, but I'm not here after sympathy. I'm just telling you what my what I've been up to really on that boat. It has been non-stop, but it's really good to see things going back in and on the boat now.
Yeah,
a lot of the woodwork is installed and back, so all the cables are all covered, and you can't see any of that going on. So all of that hard work has just disappeared now. It just looks like I've done absolutely nothing. But I'm glad I'm at that point.
Going back to my commentary earlier.
Yeah. The wardrobes and beds installed. I've got this extendable bed. It's really cool. It's only like 4 feet, and then it extends just to over 6 feet. So I'm going to buy this mattress that's got a zippable, like compartment that you can fold it, and you've got extra leg space to get to the end of the boat. Oh God, it's nearly £600 for a mattress. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, this would be the right time to mute Kim.
So I've got all these little things that I need to do. I've ordered the floor today, so that's coming on Friday. So I'm going to install that. But yeah,
Okay.
there's just heaps and heaps of stuff to do. But I've got 11 weeks. That's the way I look at it. I've got 11 weeks, and time is ticking. I've got to empty. Well, I can't say a 5-bedroomed house now. We've condensed it down to 3 bedrooms. So it's a 3-bed house with a garage full of stuff, and I've got to get rid of all of that in 11 weeks. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm either going to have to leave stuff behind or
Right.
store it. I don't know.
Well, I
Who
mean,
knows?
storing it's not ideal just because you're paying that monthly payment, but
Yeah,
that might be a short-term solution.
possibly.
Yeah.
But I could store it at mum and dad's as well. They've got quite a big house, and there's only two of them rattling around in it. So that might be
Okay.
an option for me.
I
But
like it.
yeah, I
Store your
really
stuff
am.
in somebody else's house. That's perfect. You should
I
talk to
know.
Mike.
He does the same. Yeah, he's stored it at mum's as well. He's got the biggest house out of all of us. We could actually, well, no, we couldn't. Well, I was going to say we could fit all of my stuff and mum and dad's stuff into Mike's house. It's that big. But yeah, he's got stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like I am.
How's a side note, real fast? Not to like get off of your story, but I am curious. I've not caught up with the Veteran Gamers in a little bit. So, how is dad life treating him?
I've seen. When did I see Mike last? Do you know, it was a few weeks ago now. I've not seen him as much as I'd like to. Again, you know, I'm not looking for sympathy here, but I've not seen my family. I'm literally putting everything on hold. I've not really seen them, and I'm gutted that I've not seen Rosa as much neither. We went for a Christmas meal. That was it on the 26th of November.
We really need you to document the cycle of gray hair for Mike, because it's just going to start setting in very quickly.
He's got quite a few grey hairs now. He's doing all right. Actually. He's absolutely loving life with Rosa and being a dad, doing dad duties. And when we went out for our meal, you could see that he's settled straight into it. He was ready, prepared with his rucksack or backpack, as you call them, all full to the brim with all of his changing stuff. And you could see he was there. He was prepared. He was. And do you know the other thing as well? You know the protective dad when you've got your baby going round and you're just like, hang on, is my baby all right? And
Right.
Like, you know, you're trying to give your partner some time to relax and chill out without the baby, but at the same time, you know, you're like you're on tender hooks, aren't you? Because you're trying to look where your baby's at and making sure everything's fine. He was like that. So I don't know. It was really nice to see. Actually, it was really nice to see. He's had to. Well, as you do, you have to grow up overnight, don't you? When you get kids, even more. Yeah.
All right.
It was nice seeing him.
We'll talk about our other baby in a moment with Kim, but right now, Pete, I believe you made a purchase, so let's just talk about that real quickly, and then we'll bounce over to Kim.
I brought a few things actually.
Oh.
I purchased. I had this for my birthday. Shell brought me an MP 600 Pro LPX, a Corsair memory, or should I say storage expansion for the PlayStation.
Okay. Nice.
So this, well, I mean, I didn't know what it was. I opened it up and I was just like, what? And then I saw 4 terabyte, and then I was like, oh, right, okay. And then I looked in the corner and it said that it's PS5 compatible. I was like, oh, right, okay.
Right.
It's an extendable storage for my PlayStation. And I didn't even know these things really existed. Shell did some research, and I finally fitted it not long back. I was really surprised on how easy it is to take a PlayStation 5 apart. I didn't realise that it was next to next to nothing as far as
Well, it's like one screw, right? It's one screw. You lift a panel out, and you basically have access to
yeah.
the memory card.
The panel was the hardest thing about the whole deal. I couldn't. I had
Yeah,
to
there's
get
one-
that panel off, and
That's right. There's one part of it where you have to lift it up and slide it across, and
right.
that's it. It's all done. It exposes the all of the electronics and stuff for the PlayStation, which I was just really shocked about. It's just so easy to do. Yeah, and I took a panel off with one screw, reset it with this little thing in, restarted the
Mhm.
PlayStation, and I got an extra 4 terabytes.
Nice.
So I've put in
Yep.
a lot of games now. I've purchased a lot of games like Spider-Man 2. We've got Modern Warfare 3 coming off eBay, but other games, the Miles Morales game, Spider-Man 1 even, all of those games I've put onto my PlayStation now because
Right.
the one thing I've not got to worry about when I'm on the boat is my games will already be on there. I haven't got to worry about downloading them
Sure.
and using some internet bandwidth, so they're already there.
Shell gets an A+ for being SM art.
Hey, she did her own work.
Yeah.
she top trumps to Shell for that. It was a wicked purchase. And the other thing I've got, which I don't know whether did Robin tell you about it, that he purchased it and sent it me.
No.
No. Okay. Well, I bought excuse all the noise, a PlayStation Portal.
Yes. Okay.
Have you seen this, Kim? Have you got one?
Yeah. I haven't got one, but I've seen it.
Oh, there's your reflection. Look, here you are. Oh,
Nice.
shiny. So PlayStation Portal. In the UK, that was really hard to come by on the release date.
Right.
The guy who I worked with, Ryan, who I share PlayStation consoles with, he pre-ordered one, and I wish I'd have done that. He said to me ages ago when it was first announced, like, I pre-ordered it, I'm sorted. I was like, yeah, I'll get to do it. I never did. And when it comes to the day of release, I thought there's going to be loads of them in the shops. There were none on the day of release. Nothing. So I looked on Smith's Toys, and there happened to be 9 in stock in Ballymena, which is where Robin is. So I text Robin and I was like, is there any chance you could pick this up for me, please? And he was like, yeah, all right, no problem. So
I love it. Robin was your mule.
yeah, he picked it up. I purchased it online, click and collect, and Robin picked it up. He did a nice little selfie for me with it because he was unsure what it was. He didn't know what it was. Sent it back over to here for me from Ireland, and I only literally opened it in the last week.
So here's the funny thing: we were actually talking about you and your PlayStation Portal prior to you coming onto the call. Kim and I were, and the consensus between the two of us, because a lot of people, there's very mixed reviews on the PlayStation Portal, primarily because the use case scenario. It is strictly streaming from the console. However, Pete, you are like the poster child person for the use case of the PlayStation Portal. You're going to be in your boat, and you're going to be able to stream when Shell's watching TV, and you just have the one TV. You don't have a ton of room. You're going to be able to jump on your Portal and play your games.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to talk about it later when we start talking about games? Because
we'll talk about it then. But just know we literally put an ad in for you.
Right.
There we go. So PlayStation Portal, I got that, but I've also purchased a MacBook Pro, but I've not even opened it. I've had it a week and I've not took it out of the box. That's literally like what I'm like at the minute. I just haven't got time.
Yeah.
But I did get a MacBook Pro. I'm hoping that'll be good for podcasts, video editing when I'm on the boat, and doing all the bits and bobs that I need to. But that was an M3 chip, so it's a 2023 model, so it's quite up to date as far as things go. So I shouldn't have any problems there. So apart from that, I've not been up to much else really.
All right. Well, that's okay. That's quite a bit. That is quite a bit.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a lot, Kim, you've been Christmas shopping a lot.
I have. I finally said, because I've got 3 nephews that I have to buy for, because
Right.
I already bought for the oldest one. And yeah, so I finally sat down after procrastinating, and I don't know why I procrastinated, but I did. But anyway, I sat down yesterday and fired up the old cell phone, and yeah, a little bit of plastic damage later, I finally have enough Christmas presents for the other 3 nephews. It was still almost $250 just for those 3 little assholes, and I didn't really buy them all that much, but whatever. It is what it is. It's Christmas, and I've got all the rest of the year to pay it off until next Christmas. So I got that done. I did get the adults a few stocking stuffers, sort of, because the adults had decided that we weren't going to buy gifts for ourselves because everybody gets mad at me anyway. Because what do you want? Well, I've already bought it throughout the year, so
Yeah.
So anyway, we decided not to do the adult thing and do that. So I only had the kids, and well, don't tell Dad, but I bought him something too. So
I will not
got
tell your
most-
dad, I promise.
okay.
Oh.
So I got that done, but then I realized today I still have 2 other friends that I kind of need to get a little something for. But other than that, I'm mostly done. So
Okay.
now I'm just waiting for all to show up. Oh, Jiminy Christmas! Hold on, the midget is back.
Well, we could transition over to me. I mean, it's pretty straightforward right now. We are in full blown panic, and I say panic. It's not really panic. It's just constant with the buying and selling of the house. So we have signed off on our papers for the new house. We did all of that yesterday, so we are officially on record, and that's all moving forward. Selling of our current house, all on track. Cross fingers, nothing gets sidetracked on that, but that all should be, both houses should be completed and keys being swapped by the 15th of next week. So, or December,
Crikey.
next week. On top of that, my dad has not been in good health. And so I shot up last weekend to just help my mom out and support her. They live up in Reno, and it's not ideal because literally none of the kids, we are all here on the California side. So at minimum, it's going to take 2.5, 3 hours to get to them, not factoring in snow.
God.
So new plan is we're going to get my parents moved out from Reno down to my sister's house, and that all is going to be happening in the next 2 weeks as well. So if anybody
got a
wants to
big
come
house
over and
A lot of
move,
oh my God, that sounds like a right task.
it is. It's and for my parents, it's not so much, we're not going to be moving everything. So it's more kind of like an extended vacation for them at my sister's place, and it's just because my dad's health has deteriorated so much that we're kind of preparing things, not to be glum, but it's just a reality and fact of life. And so we're having to do that. And that will help my mom out a ton as well, because right now she is just by herself trying to take care of my dad, who really can no longer take care of himself. So, yeah, tough times.
Oh, I'm really sorry that you have to deal with that.
No,
as well
I
as,
appreciate it. It's
moving
not easy.
yourself.
Yeah. But, it's part of life. And so I'm just trying to roll with the punches, focus on the tasks. And I will say this, and that's an important thing. Anytime you get involved in something that's high stress like this, where you're like, you know what, you just got a lot of different things happening and it's hard to focus, just create yourself your task list and just become a task master, because that will help you stay the course. It keeps it less emotional. And you just start checking things off. So that's kind of what I had to do the past couple of weeks, just because there was so much going on. And it was not just my parents. It wasn't just buying of a new house. It was selling of the other house, on top of which we have our own special needs child. So just a lot to factor in. Like, we're having to, factor in a new school for him now, and transportation and all that goes with that change. So a lot, but we're getting through it. We talked we've got cabinet makers working on some new entertainment centers for our new living room. We have new closets that are going to be installed. We are going to get our garage floor epoxied, which I don't know if you've ever seen that, but yeah, I'm excited for that. I've never had a garage floor epoxied like that, but I think it's going to look great. And then on, little things, getting internet and cable set up at the new house. So we'll be able to roll right with the transition, and I can work from the house if I need to, or I can still work from here. So yeah,
Are you moving far from where you are now?
not far. It's the next town over, but I would say it's probably a 15-minute drive. Not bad. And so we're gonna handle a lot of the small lift stuff. Like I'm gonna get the TV over there and things like that. So when the internet cable guys come to set things up, I can just get it all kind of pre-set up. And then, other things like wiring new speakers, that'll happen down the road. But I want to make sure just like the key functional things, internet first and foremost, new refrigerator also getting delivered on that Saturday, right after we get keys. So it's going to be fun. And once we're past I think the manicness of getting all of these deals done, that's probably the biggest like stress thing. It's like, making sure the loan papers are all in order, and then also making sure that the people buying this house, all of their stuff is in order, and that it's a smooth signing of papers, handing keys over, and be done with it. So yeah.
Do you still have to go through that process of like repainting your house and recarpeting it before you've sold it?
No. So we don't have to recarpet it. The carpet in the house actually was pretty brand new, so there was that. You don't have to repaint inside depending on the exterior. And again, this is all part of the negotiation of buying a new house. So some people will want you to repaint certain things. But most people, when they're buying a house from you, you figure they're going to want to put their own paint in. So you don't really worry about your interior walls. The exterior of the home, though, that's where those things happen. So we're going to buy some touch-up paint because we had a couple little minor repairs to, they call them the rooster tails, where the connecting beams on the roof that stick out a little bit. And you wouldn't really have this as much peak, because I don't think you guys have that kind of roof. But anyway.
There is some houses with that, yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so we had some little touch-up work done too, so we have to paint over that. Just make sure it looks clean from the exterior. But, beyond that, you clean the house up before you leave so it's not a disaster. And so when the people come, they can kind of just start moving in as opposed to having to clean it all up ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's next week. So that I won't be on the show that weekend because that I will be in the height of moving prep.
That's understand. Yeah. And you say Colin's in a different school as well.
So he'll be transitioning to a new school potentially. We have the ability to keep him in his same school, I think, through this year, but he's going into a brand new school district. So it's kind of one of those weird situations because he's special needs. They're a little more lenient, but normally he would have to transition to the new school district. He wouldn't get a choice. We're going to take a tour of their special needs classroom facility on Wednesday this coming week, and then kind of make the decision on what we want to do. My gut is we keep him through the holiday at the current school because it'll just make our move part of it that much easier. And then come New Year, we'll transition to the new school.
Oh.
But yeah. So that's me. I think I covered everything. Kim, I think we covered everything with you as well.
Pretty much. I've just had the kids this weekend, as you've already noticed. From
what?
My
You have kids in the house?
I know.
Oh,
isn't that
crazy.
shocking? Who would ever thought,
Kim, have you had any luck finding a new calendar?
No, I've been waiting for ideas, but none have come across. So
It's like Santa Claus is giving me my wish. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you can find your next Puss in Man.
Well,
thing.
If all else fails, I'll go back to the Australian firefighters because it seems like they do change it up every year. So
it's hard not to go back to the Australian firefighters. It really is.
I know, right? So yeah.
All right.
It is funny though. Listening to you and talking about Colin and changing schools, and you're only moving like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
Where I live, I'd have to move almost like an hour away before we'd even have to worry about changing schools. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and the funny thing is we're like right on the border. And that's the thing. And so like we cross over and it's like, nope, now you are in the territory for this school district. And it's just logistically it's kind of bonkers. And that gives me more headaches than anything because I had to re-register him for that school district and go through all of their stupid paperwork. And it was just nuts. I'm like, why can't you just get it from the other school district and transition it just because I've literally all this information is with them. And they use the same back end portal system. It's called an Aries, the Aries online school portal, but they just separate it out for different school districts. And I'm like, okay.
You're the kind of guy that likes paperwork, though, Greg.
Oh,
You're
no,
a good
I
organized
fucking
guy.
hate
so...
paperwork. Oh my God.
But yeah,
in fact, here's the funny thing. So at 4:30 on Thursday, mind you, we're supposed to sign our loan docs on Friday evening at 5 p.m. 4:30 on Thursday, Cindy calls me up and she says, "Hey, I'm talking to my client. We may want to talk to her lender because he had us a much better rate." And I'm just like, "What? Excuse me?" And so we ended up talking to this guy, and while yes, he could potentially get us a new rate, he also potentially wouldn't be able to get it all done in time, and therefore it would have thrown everything out of whack. So the good news is we can refinance whenever. So I talked with him and I said, "Look, we're going to stay the course because I'm not going to fuck this up. I can't deal with that on top of all this other shit we've got going on." Yeah. However, come January, February, we'll just look and see where rates are at. And if we can truly get into a much better rate, and when I say a better rate, we're talking a full percentage point or more. If that's on the table, I'll 100% go through the pains of refinancing because that's like a $500 difference. So I'm all for that. But so we'll get there. But I just looking at the timing of everything, I was just like, this ain't happening. This is not going to happen. Anyway, hey, let's give a shout out to the chat. I see we had Harley Dan in there. He was basically again promoting the love of his Steam Deck over your PlayStation Portal, Pete. Lord is in there as well. I see. I'm not sure what all is being stated there, but just been grieving Robin also. Yeah, you know what, Lord, you should grieve Robin. Grief all you want. The man deserves it.
Oh well, he got you too, so just so you know.
Oh well, okay. Oh, and the other half live. Yeah. Well, okay. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's do a transition, and we will talk about some games.
Gotcha.
If I can find the jingle.
Today I feel like playing computer games. Today I feel like playing computer games.
Okay. Pete, we're going to start with you.
All right.
Because
I've only played...
I know you've played one game. One game only, Pete. One ping only. But this one also ties in, ironically, to the Game Awards. So I'm going to pull the trailer up because I don't want to spoil anything from this game because I feel like it's fresh. I don't want to show gameplay of it because I want people that are going to play this DLC to see it. You might already figured out what I'm talking about, but I'm going to transition over to it right now. Pete, let's talk about some God of War Ragnarok Valhalla.
God of War Ragnarok. I played this game when it first came out and really enjoyed it, but just got into that thing where I got caught up in work and just left it. And I needed to fire up this PlayStation Portal, and I'll talk about this first, if that's all right. The PlayStation Portal. So, yeah, all right, it's not a Steam Deck, but the thing is, I'm only going to have one console, and this is an accessory that benefits this console. All right, it's expensive. It's £200. So it's an expensive controller. But last week, I'll share something about my health. I had a colostomy. Not a colostomy. What did I have? A colonoscopy appointment, and I had to be very close to a toilet. And this gave me the option to just play PlayStation games in my bedroom, very close to the bathroom, and not having to be anywhere near my PlayStation console.
All right, real quickly. I want to clear one thing up. I'm very glad that you said that it was in the bedroom close to you, close to the toilet, not on the toilet.
No. So, I did think about it.
But what if you get shit on the white parts of the portal?
Listen, human anatomy is the same for everybody, and hopefully everybody is pointing their anus down towards the bottom of the toilet.
But you know
not
what?
up
But
in the air.
Pete, you don't have a bidet, so you're wiping, with the hard, wipe with the toilet. You get a little bit on your finger, your thumb.
Here
You
we
don't know
go.
it,
Dear
and then
Lord.
you're touching your controller, and then maybe a day later you're taking your fingers and you're touching your face, and you know what happens
Yeah.
then? You get hand, foot, mouth disease.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
There-
Overseas Connection, everyone.
discussing health. There is that. You could be cautious and get away with it, I suppose. But anyway, I played God of War
Right.
in the bedroom, and
I'm glad you said
Never
in the
mind.
bedroom again.
Not gonna
on
go
the
there.
place.
Here,
On
look,
the
we'll
PlayStation.
put Kratos back on. This is the DLC, by the way. This looks pretty good.
This game, right, is fantastic. I really enjoyed the story, and after leaving it for so long, I thought to myself that I would forget who the characters were, where I was in the story, and there was some elements of that to start off with, but I soon got back into it. The PlayStation Portal for me just did a seamless job. And my internet connection is not great at all. It's just got a 5G SIM card in a router that's connected to the PlayStation, and then this is obviously connected to the same router, and it did it flawlessly. I mean, if you go some distance, I mean, this is a 5-bedroom house, so I mean, if you go to the other side of the house, it starts to stutter. It won't play properly, so you have to be relatively close to where the router is to a degree. If you're playing in the house,
Is it
But-
close? Sorry, let me back up. Do you have to be close to the router, or is it close to the PlayStation 5?
I would say close to the router.
Okay.
But my router is by my PlayStation 5, so I've not separated the two. I suppose I could do that to try it, but I'm assuming it's down to internet connection, because when you play this remotely, so if I went over the center and played this on their internet connection,
Right.
it's based on then the connection between the PlayStation and the router,
Right.
and how good this connection is over the center with with the actual PlayStation Portal. It just depends on internet connection. It really does. But it did a brilliant job. It didn't stutter at all. I don't think I was worried at first by playing on an 8-inch screen that I'd be losing. I'd be losing that that widescreen feel, being able to see everything in the game, seeing all the landscape. But the display on this is just phenomenal. And there's only one time on God of. Have you played it, Kim? God of War.
No, I haven't yet,
No.
but I've got it.
Well, there's chests that you can open. You have to hit 3 different runes. They're like little cauldrons with runes on, and you have to hit them all in a sequence within a certain amount of time, and it opens a chest. There was one time where I couldn't. It was too far away on a cliff face. This cauldron was, and it took me ages to find it. I found like I was walking around for 10 minutes trying to find this thing. That was the only time when I found that I had a problem with the screen size and not being able to see too much of the game. But that was minimal. I mean, as far as everything else, all of the battles that I've come across, all of the action that you would think would stutter at the PlayStation Portal because of the internet connection, it didn't at all. It was great. I really, really like it. I think it's a fantastic bit of kit. The only downfall on it is, I mean, at the moment I'm wearing the PlayStation, the Sony earphones that
Right.
work on a Bluetooth dongle, and that connects into the PlayStation, and they're great. They've got a great microphone on them, and I think they're fantastic, really comfortable. But they don't work with the PlayStation Portal. They're not compatible with it at all. So the only thing that, when you go onto Sony's website, they'll say that you've got to buy the newer version of the headphones. But I saw a video on YouTube, and you could buy a $6, I'll say, a $5.99 Bluetooth adapter that plugs into the 3.5mm jack underneath the PlayStation Portal.
Okay.
Hides the actual adapter anyway because of the screen overhanging at the bottom. So the jack is around here for people watching the video, and it hides all of the actual Bluetooth kit itself, and that connects up to these headphones. So don't get blindsided by the fact that you've got to try and buy this expensive stuff to work with it, because this $6 workaround, it enables you to use your old kit. The one problem that Ryan come across, actually, who I share PlayStation consoles with, he tried to play over the center, which has a password protected. It has a website that you need to connect to first and accept the terms and conditions before you can get onto the internet. This doesn't allow you to do that. You can't connect. There's no Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge interface for you to accept the terms and conditions and go onto their internet connection. So I think on a software update, I think it'd be really, really cool if they did that. It almost brings up like a mini browser that allows you to connect onto an internet connection.
Steam Deck had that problem at first as well, and I think it was because when you're connecting to those websites, they do this. You connect up, and usually you're supposed to have an automatic pop-up of the browser to then go and basically, say I agree, and then you're connected, right? And it's a very simple agreement, but for whatever reason, I want to say that the browser wasn't launching, so you couldn't, when it tried to do that pop-up browser window, it wouldn't work. For the Portal, the biggest problem is internet browsing at all.
No, but so, if there was just something, not an internet browsing option, but even if it was just like a mini browser as such that you could just open up, and it will allow you to connect onto that connection and then come back out again. That's its only function, and it doesn't allow anything else. So I think to do something like that, I don't know.
Can you watch Netflix on that?
On this Portal?
Yeah, on the Portal.
No, you can't do anything there's on it apart from play on the PlayStation.
Okay. Yeah, so that probably is a little more of a. I mean, ultimately, it has to be able to do browsing, internet browsing, because I think that would be kind of how it would function with like a Netflix too. And for whatever reason, Sony didn't want to do that. So.
No, but that's its only downfall. So if you go to a hotel, and you've got your PlayStation at home, you can't use it. That's its side.
Well, like I said, Pete, your situation on the boat will be the perfect use case for it.
Well, this is it. I've not got to worry about that, have I? I've bought it because it would benefit my situation on the boat, and I haven't got to worry about that. So for people traveling around, it'd be an absolute pain in the bum, and Steam Deck is probably the right route to go. So Dan, I'm with you there. But for my situation, I'm good. So 200 quid, God of War plays like a dream, and I probably played about 11 or 12 hours. So I'm about 54% into the game now. My brother said to me before, have you got the new weapon? And I have got the new weapon now. I don't think that much of it. I think it's a bit overrated, to be honest. I'm not going to spoil what it is. It is pretty cool. I get that. But I prefer the Blades of Chaos. Okay. I just love that weapon. I just absolutely love Blades of Chaos. So I'm over halfway. I'm enjoying it, and there's the update, isn't there, that's coming out, which I didn't know about neither.
It was part of the drop. We'll talk about that as we get into the Game Awards news. Side note, Hardly Dan has made sure to put out there that I was just being an idiot, and that I just had to go to desktop mode, and I could have figured out the whole internet thing. Fair play. It's not been an issue since then, and I've not had that problem again. So I figured it was an update, but it probably was just also me being a little thick in the head. Kim,
Yes.
Kim, what have you been playing?
Oh, not much. I don't know what it was this week. I just didn't seem to.
Well, let's talk
do
about
much,
Bro
but
Potato. Have you played more Bro Potato? Because
I have played more Brotato. Yes, I did play
this
more
cracks me
Brotato.
up. I saw this.
Rotator.
Yeah, I've got it up on screen right now. You're literally a killer spud.
Yes, it's very much like Vampire Survivors, only you're a potato. So
God.
it's I don't know. I wouldn't have played it except Robin brought it up, and then I have the Google Play Pass, which is in the Google Store. You can play certain games free, and I got it through my cell phone provider, and it popped up one day. It's like, here's Brotato Premium for free, and I'm like, okay, Robin talked about it enough. I like Vampire Survivors, so okay, I'll give it a shot. And I'm really enjoying it. It's like I said, you're a killer spud, and you can pick different spuds. Like there's a mutant spud, there's a what is it, quote unquote slow spud, sort of. And there's one that can pack multiple weapons and yada yada yada. It's just fun little time killer, kind of like Vampire Survivors.
What? So
It
here's my
is.
question: Does he automatically aim, or are you aiming and walking around?
Well, he aims. Well, it's kind of like Vampire Survivors in a way because the movement that you walk is where he aims.
Okay.
So-
all right.
So as long as you're moving across the map and everything, you do pretty well. I don't know that it's automatic aiming, but as it fires in the direction you're moving, or like if you go up, it fires up, left, right, down, whatever. So it does really well. I mean, and it is somewhat more difficult because with Vampire Survivors, it didn't take me much to reach to like the end of the whatever you want to call it, round, whatever. It took me a good long while to get to wave 20 on. It's a little more difficult than you'd think. So, but it's fun. I am enjoying it.
It looks
I haven't got
interesting.
an
I'm skipping ahead to just some action scenes. So okay.
Right. Yeah, it's neat. For Thanksgiving, they had the little dudes that you kill. They had turkeys on their heads, so they do little things like that. But like I said, it's if you've got Google Game Pass, whatever the hell it's called, you can get it for nothing. But otherwise, I think it's still free. They just have ads in it because that's what Tony was playing for a while until I bumped him up. So anyway, Brotato, it's fun. It's a good little time killer, kind of like Vampire Survivors. I don't know. I like those sort of games, and I didn't think I would. So
Okay.
there you are.
Bro Potato.
Speaking of stupid games that involve cats, and I know that's probably not a surprise, they had Castle Full of Cats on Xbox for like super cheap, like $3. And basically I bought it. So look for it on Game Pass, because that's usually how it works. Anyway, I bought it.
Castle full of cats.
All it is basically it's a game where it's like a seek and find thing. They have cats in like the background, and you've got to find them all. There's a little backstory. The same company that made Sudoku Cats made this, obviously, because it's all the same bunch of cats. I'm assuming it's people's pets sort of thing. But that's kind of what it is. It's like a seek and find sort of deal. And I like playing those things because it kind of makes me feel like I'm not an idiot because I can find these things. And I don't know. Like
I just have to tell everybody I was not prepared for Castle Full of Cats, so I don't have the video up on that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
was looking at the
it's
notes
all right.
before, and I thought you were gonna. Yeah. Anyway.
Right, it'll be all right. But anyway, it's just one of the like little seek and find. Like you enter a room and they'll tell you there's like 34 cats hidden away in there somewhere. So you click and you find them and that
It's
sort of thing.
like your home.
I know, right? That there's not 34, at least not inside. So whatever. It's been a weird week. I didn't, I
Okay.
didn't feel like playing much else. So I got my little Razer, kind of like Pete. I got my little handheld out and booted up the Xbox from there and sat on my couch and played Castle of Cats
Okay.
and Brotato. So there you go. Oh, and speaking of games that I bought,
Yeah.
I did buy Immortals of Avium because it was on
I-
sale.
I thought about that. I thought about pulling the trigger on that, and then I
Right.
held off because it's EA, and I know it's going to come to EA Play at some point.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like $8. I bought it.
Yeah.
So look for it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
So
yeah. So like you, I fell victim to somebody proclaiming, "Oh, that's a good deal on a game, and I'll buy it." Mine
Right.
was Hardly Dan in the chat. Thank you, Hardly Dan, for inspiring me to buy the Star Wars Walker game for my Steam Deck. I bought that. I could have just paid $2 for the base game, but no,
right.
I wanted to like buy the bundle for some dumb reason, so I paid it was $18 for the full bundle.
No.
Probably should have just spent the $2, being honest, but oh well.
Right.
Another game I bought. I'm going to put this up on screen, but honestly, it's not worth putting up on screen. So I bought Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. Now,
Oh dear.
okay, I love Battlestar Galactica. I love tactics
Right.
games, and this game kind of like I've had it on my wish list, and it went on sale. It was like I think $14 on sale, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to get it. Tactics, spaceship, Battlestar Galactica. Yes,
Greg's in it.
sign me up. And I like it, but as you're seeing on screen right now, it's not the most exciting game. You definitely need to have your caffeine. You move all of your ships, in a 3D map, if you will. I guess you could call it 4D because there's different dimensions to it. And the game then you basically hit go, and the game will kind of self-play the moves that you have set in place. So you tell your ship to go forward, X amount of space, maybe turning and then firing weapons on an enemy ship. Think of this as chess piece, Pete. This is space battle chess.
I'm not getting it.
Yeah, that is actually part of the problem. It's you transition, you make your units go, and then you're back to like having to set and do everything, and it's fine when the battles are close. When all the ships are up close, it's great. When you have to track down a ship that's halfway across the map, it is painfully slow. And then the kind of cool thing you do get to do is after the battle is over, you can hit replay and it'll play out like a cinematic movie. And that actually is the fun part because then it's like you're watching an episode of Battlestar Galactica. But this is not going to be one of my game of the year options for sure.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. But I will talk about a game that has surprised me. So Remnant 2. Now, I fired this up, and you're seeing the character creator stuff. And look, I'm a sucker for character creation. There's no nudity in this one, Okay, fine, whatever. No penis sizing, no boob sizing. But
forget it.
Damn
Then.
it.
This game, I mean, it's a third person shooter. I'll call it action adventure shooter. And I honestly don't really know what the hell the story is. I didn't really pay that much attention on the build up to it. But what I'm going to say is this. Visually, it looks like a really good first generation, like Xbox One, PS4 era game. Like if this had come out then, you'd be like, oh, this looks great. For this gen, visually, it's okay. It has some nice touches, some shadowing and stuff. But what's surprising is the voice acting is all really well done. And there is actually story elements in this game. And, it does the typical thing. You go into a hub area and you've got different people you can sell stuff and upgrade stuff with. And then you go out, you basically tackle a dungeon, and then you come back and you sell your scrap for upgrades. So it has kind of all of those like hooks in it, those little upgrade hooks. But I'm surprised, and it plays really well. The controls are nice. It's smooth. Again, I think that my knock on this game is from a visual standpoint. It's not a showcase. It's like, if I'm playing Modern Warfare 3 and I'm looking at this, it's not even close. Modern Warfare 3 is wiping the floor with this thing in terms of visuals. However, there is something about this game I'm just very much enjoying, and I'm surprised at how much I've been enjoying it so far. So even NPC characters, as you go into your kind of hub world, they're all just voice acted. It never feels overly cheesy. I think I've heard maybe one or two like kind of campy, cheesy lines that I'd like, roll your eyes at. But beyond that, it's actually really good. It's better than it deserves to be. And I think that's kind of where I land with it. I'm just like really shocked at how much I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm going to keep plugging away at it. This is a co-op game as well. So you can play it single player. But you can, I think it's up to 3 different players can play with you, and you kind of go through the co-op dungeons together. I don't know if your experience stays with you, but I think it does. So you can kind of bring your character into somebody else's build. Yeah, I would just say, hey, if you can, check out Remnant 2.
It does look good.
It's good.
It is on Game Pass.
And it is on
so,
Game Pass.
you know.
Yeah. It was a surprise drop from Game Pass. And we'll talk about more surprise drops. We'd already talked about God of War DLC. That came. This one was a surprise drop on Game Pass as well. Again, if you are in the mood for something a little different, that could be either single player or co-op, check out Remnant 2.
Indeed.
So, that said, where are we? I think we are good to talk about news.
Alrighty.
If I can find it.
Here is the fucking news.
Okay, so the first news story, this broke very beginning of the week, and it has me very sad. Just for Bungie. So Bungie Dev says the atmosphere is soul crushing amid layoffs, cuts, and fear of a total Sony takeover. So think back to when Sony purchased Bungie. We were all, I think, a bit shocked at, but Sony paid, I think, $6 billion, if I remember correctly. I want to say it was $6 billion for. Sony paid $6 billion for Bungie. But at the time, when they announced the deal, it was like, no, Bungie is going to have total autonomy. They are going to be able to publish their game where they want to publish it. And it felt unusually fair, one-sided for a purchase like this, just out of the chute for Sony. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but Sony, typically speaking, has very much coveted exclusivity for games coming into their system. They don't really do the day and date game on another system. And yet here was Bungie with Destiny, and that was the plan. Now, fast forward, Bungie recently had a bunch of layoffs that hit the studio. And that was a bit shocking. And then we get this report that basically came out, and I'm just going to start kind of reading through this story here. So 1 month after a round of layoffs impacted roughly 100 employees out of 1,200, it was a cost-cutting measure that came alongside an apparent scramble by studio leadership to avoid a Sony takeover. And as it currently stands, Bungie is on paper fully independent subsidiary of Sony, but its board of directors have been divided since the takeover in July of 2022. Among its current members are PlayStation Studios head Herman Holst, senior VP Eric Lempel of Sony, and then Bungie co-founder Jason Jones, Bungie CTO Luis Villegas, and then Bungie CEO Pete Parsons. The board as a whole is split between Sony and Bungie representatives, with Parsons having basically the tie-breaking vote, so giving Bungie majority say in what they do. But speaking to IGN under conditions of anonymity, multiple current and former Bungie employees described a department meeting that took place shortly after the layoffs, in which leaders hinted that this shared power may not last forever. While the exact details of Sony's deal to acquire Bungie remain unknown to the public or employees, sources say they were told by leaders that the current split board structure is contingent on Bungie meeting certain financial goals. If Bungie falls short of certain financial thresholds by too great an amount, Sony is allowed to dissolve the existing board and take full control of the company. So, that is the landscape for Bungie as it stands. I really kind of wonder if those financial goals were kind of set in place with kind of an expectation at some point in the, I'll call it far future, as opposed to when it first happened, when the takeover or the purchase first happened. But Sony kind of had its sight on, we eventually know they're going to fall short of financial goals and will take over Bungie as a whole.
Right.
I don't know. It's scary times for Bungie. It's sad. Obviously, certain Bungie, employees and stuff benefited greatly from the buyout because, I mean, hey, they I know made sure they had a large sum of money held for employees. So, the Bungie staff have benefited from the takeover. However, being under Sony's, house, they're now absolutely probably higher expectations around financial goals as opposed to maybe when Bungie was more independent, in their situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know what the future is obviously for this, but it is a very interesting situation because I think, and again, I don't know how, Pete, you saw the Bungie takeover with Sony. If you wondered kind of how is it that it was that much of a sweetheart deal, I guess is the best way to put it. Because I was to this point still very shocked that Bungie got the latitude they got. But now it kind of makes a little more sense that maybe the latitude really wasn't as great as we thought.
There has to be a real big purpose for this deal. It's $6 million. It's a massive amount of money, isn't it? There had to be an end goal, and giving them a little bit of breathing space at the start. Maybe it was just all part of the strategy, knowing that it would eventually start to struggle for them to muscle in and take over. I don't know. It's there's a lot of people looking in on things like this all the time, and that's all they do. That's what they're employed to do. Well, you do. You look at stats all the time, don't you? There's people that do this day in, day out, and they know what's going to happen a very long time in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if they already knew that this was going to happen. But I don't know. It's a shame, isn't it, for those people that struggle, lose their jobs, and
the layoffs are tough, and it makes you sad if you think about the fact that they made these layoff cuts potentially because they were trying to stave off the takeover. Mm-hmm. Like maybe if they didn't have the threat of a Sony takeover, maybe they don't make those cuts. Maybe they just say, hey, we try to weather the storm a little bit because we know we have, DLC coming or whatever, down the road. Or, in fairness, maybe the cuts would have been worse if Sony hadn't been in the picture. Maybe it's 200 people that would have been laid off. Just hard to know.
Right.
I'm going to push forward here. GTA 6. Who's excited for this? Anybody?
A little bit,
Kim?
yeah.
Yeah? Pete?
Nah. A lot of shit. Of course I am. GTA? Oh my God, yeah.
GTA 6. It's got its first trailer release, just hit this past week. And it's not coming until 2025. I think that was the big blow. Everybody thought it was coming this year.
I knew better.
Yeah.
I didn't figure it'd be here till at least next year.
Yeah, I would have said November next year or something, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not till 2025, and that's assuming they don't get another delay.
Right.
All right, let's dive into the Game Awards. I don't know if you guys watched the Game Awards. I'm going to put
I did.
The recap onto the background so we can have something to bear with that. Let me do some screen navigation while I'm doing this. Okay. So we'll put this on so people have something to watch while we're talking about the Game Awards itself. Okay. So the recap of the actual awards. Run through this. And by the way, I'm running through this at a little bit of a fast clip because I do have a little bit of a time element. My son is going to be getting home in probably the next 20 minutes or so. And so I want to try and wrap things up prior to that if possible. Anyway.
There's a lot to go
Thursday night, Baldur's Gate 3 eventually emerged with 6 wins. Game of the Year, Best Performance by Neil Newbon, excuse me. So kind of as expected, Baldur's Gate 3 really cleaned up well. Alan Wake 2, which had the same number of nominations as Baldur's Gate 3, received 3 awards. And they did a Herald of Darkness live performance on stage, which apparently was very well received by a lot of people.
It was
I
good.
did stay up and watch this late because we were off doing moving things, and then I came home and I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch it. I did fall asleep for about 20 minutes.
Oh.
Pretty sure I missed this performance. Other notables, Cocoon and Sea of Thieves scored in the indie categories. Forza Motorsport
what she said.
actually got 2 wins, which I was actually surprised by. I knew it would kind of get racing sim for this year, but didn't think it would get more than that. So 2 wins for it. And Hi-Fi Rush got in for audio design. The interesting one was Spider-Man 2, which had 8 categories that it was nominated for, received no awards. So, it's still a great game, but it was interesting that it did get slighted when it came to actual awards. Okay, so to the game reveals. And by the way, stop me on any of these if you want to say something real quick or talk about them, but there's a lot, so I'm going to go through it because, let's face it, the Game Awards really is E3 in the holidays.
Yep.
So, Archetype Entertainment, division of Wizard of the Coast, announced Exodus. That was Matthew McConaughey on screen. You just saw that. So Matthew McConaughey is one of the actors in this game. Looks quite good.
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well.
All right.
God of Ragnarok, Pete. New DLC out now. Nice shadow drop that hit. And it looks fantastic.
It's out on the 15th, isn't it? Mark was saying.
I thought it. Yeah. Well, I thought it was already out for some reason. No.
Oh, I don't know.
Should be already out. Maybe it's not out in the UK. I don't know, but they did say it was out now. Ninja Theory showed off more Hellblade 2 footage, and we now know it is coming in 2024. Sega did like 5 game announcements in one. So basically, we're getting Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and Jet Set Radio games. We're unclear if these are new games or if they're remakes. What exactly we're getting out of that? We just know that they're coming.
I would say that they're new. Streets of Rage, because there was a 4, wasn't there, that come out? There's got to be a 5 coming for that.
Yeah, I would think so.
Shinobi's got to be a remake of the classic. I would hope. Golden Axe, I hope that's new. It's a great game, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio as well. Good.
We shall see. Single player game for Dead by Daylight is coming in 2024. Hideo Kojima was on stage showing off OD, which is the Xbox Studios game, officially announced, and also that Jordan Peele is collaborating with him on this one. Arcane Leon, depending upon how you want to say it, they are making a Marvel game, and it is Blade.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, we don't know when exactly it's coming. They just said TBD on the release date. It's far out, but they did kind of reaffirm it is going to be a third-person action game. So I mean, honestly, I think they're going to look at Spider-Man and be like, "We're going to make our version." But that was exciting to see, and obviously, I think Xbox fans have been wanting that. The interesting side note on that, also on the OD game, is that they did not announce specific platforms to it. So it wasn't like PC and Xbox Series games, platforms. So there's a lot of speculation that maybe these are going to be multiplayer, multi-platform, including PlayStation. Or the possibility is that the FTC, because they're still trying to fight Microsoft on the takeover of Activision, maybe Microsoft was leery of putting out any kind of console exclusivity on screen to give the FTC kind of any ammunition to say, see, we told you, this is what they're going to do. Let's see. No Man's Sky team is returning to Earth with a game called Light No Fire. Looks kind of interesting. A game I could care less about. Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Shadow dropped as well. So, Pete, you can not only play God of War DLC, but you can play Final Fantasy 16 DLC.
No, thanks.
Okay. The Destructible Arena Shooter, The Finals, is out on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S consoles now. I have downloaded that. I have yet to fire it up. I know Snoogans was talking about it and saying he very much enjoyed this game. So we'll be curious to see how that is. Let's see. Monster Hunter Wilds stampedes onto platforms in 2025. So if you're a big Monster Hunter fan, you get more to look forward to there. Rise of the Golden Idol, which is a sequel to the murder mystery Curse of the Golden Idol, was announced and is coming to the usual platforms and Netflix. So that's Netflix getting into the act. Usual June is the latest from Finji and will take you back to high school in 2025. I don't even know what that one was. The Odd Gentleman announced Harmonium the Musical. This is another Netflix game, by the way. So it's a kind of charming musical animated game, but it's coming to Netflix and Game Pass, ironically. Thrasher is coming from, and this is basically the team behind Thumper. So Thrasher is coming, and that will be 2024. I'm so excited for this game. Persona 3 Reload. Yeah, that will be coming in February. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. Two of the biggest sea-based games for 2023 are teaming up for a crossover game. Get ready. Dredge is coming to Dave the Diver on December 15th, 2023. Yeah. There's another crossover game we'll talk about in a second, which I don't get either. Metaphor Refantasio, the game from the Persona devs at Atlas, got a new trailer and fall release window of 2024. Again, don't care. World of Goo 2, the sequel to the indie hit, is set for 2024. Let's see. We've got... This is a long list of games. House brought people together with Untitled Goose Game, and they now are coming and bringing out a new game called Big Walk. And that will release in 2025. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, has a free demo coming on January 11th, 2024. Remember that the young Asian gal, Ikuma Nakamura? She was with Tango Gameworks. She came out on stage and she was squealing and everybody loved her. Well, apparently she's made enough money from all of that she's made her own studio. And she has a new game coming out called Kemuri. Luis Raimondo is very excited for this one from Moon Studios, the team behind the Ori series. They have an action RPG in the works. And that one is called No Rest for the Wicked. Looks pretty good.
It did look really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kim, I know you're excited for this. Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero.
Oh, sure am.
Or Sparking Zero. Not even sparkling. It should be sparkling.
Damn it.
That would be better, if you ask me.
Right?
But yeah, that will be released on basically everything under the sun except for Nintendo. And we don't have a release window. Visions of Mana is the latest in the Mana series from Square Enix, and that is coming in 2024. The PlayStation exclusive Rise of the Ronin got a new trailer and release date, and that will be coming March 22nd, 2024. Pete, any excitement there? Kim? Yeah? No? Okay.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, maybe you'll be excited about this. Outlast, the Outlast Trials.
Oh.
So this has been on PC in early access, and it's now coming to consoles too, with an official release date of March 5th, 2024.
Pass.
Disappointing. Jurassic Park Survival. Ever thought about what had happened? What would it be like to be, stranded on the Jurassic Park thing after everything went down and you were left on the island behind? Well, now you get to play out that fantasy.
I like the sound of this. It's getting legged by some the raptors. Do you imagine that? Oh my life! Got about 5 of them running after you. Oh my god, yeah, that would be.
I'd be dinosaur poop.
Well, it is coming. It's coming to PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series console, so you'll have your chance, Pete.
Nice.
This was probably the one. Well, not quite the most head scratching one, but we did get Rocket Racing coming to Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Fortnite has just become a platform. It's not. They're just throwing everything under the sun into it. This game actually looked pretty interesting. Black Myth Wukong. So this is got its new trailer, and it's now set for an August 20th, 2024 release date. And I think it's across all platforms, if I'm not mistaken. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I think it looks good. We'll see. People have been very positive about it since it kind of went back into hibernation, and they've worked on it. But it's got a release date. It's coming February 2nd, 2024. Another game that I can't believe is still around, but it is Warframe. And it's Warframe Whispers in the Walls, which has basically got a little bit of a touch of steampunk and futurism, a sci-fi vibe to it. That's December 13th, so just a couple days from now.
Right.
And that will be on all platforms. Ready or Not is leaving early access, whether you want it or not, and it's coming out on December 13th as well. Tales of Kenzura Zhao is an African-American mythologically inspired 2.5D side-scrolling platform game from EA Originals. And that will come out on April 23rd, 2024. Life is Strange team, they have a new game coming out called Lost Records Bloom and Rage. And that is set for late 2024. Just a few more games to talk about here. We've got the first Berserker, Kazan.
That one looked interesting.
Yeah. That's, dungeon fighter online game. I don't know. But it's coming out. Well, it doesn't actually have a release date. Never mind. We don't know when that's coming, but it's got announced.
Yes.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the one that I really just had. Why? So, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Everyone wants the second half of this game to come out, but you're getting a crossover event with Apex Legends on January 9th, 2024.
What about?
Hey, Skull and Bones. Who's excited for that? No, nobody. Well, it's finally coming out. This time they mean it, we think. February 16th, 2024. And then Anthony Mackie. Pete, I think you watched Twisted Metal on Peacock. Maybe you didn't. Did you watch the Twisted Metal series on Peacock?
No.
Seems like I think you would like this show. But they got a season 2. They announced that they're getting a season 2, so excited for that. Tencent Lightspeed Studios revealed its first game called Last Sentinel with cinematic trailer. Oh dear Lord, it just does not stop. There was a lot of announcements in this
Off of these
crazy.
games.
Nexons, the first Descendant is coming in the summer of 2024. Zenless Zone Zero, the next Hoyoverse game, got a trailer and also set to arrive in 2024. And Mecha Break, it's about mechs. You guessed it. I might like this game. I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to have an alpha test at some point. Yay. GTFO, the final chapter, or Get the Fuck Out. It's got a free weekend on Steam, December 10th. If you want to try the game out, there you go. If you had a Steam Deck, Pete, you could have probably played that.
Yeah. Well, stick it.
Oh, Harley Dan says it's postponed again. I think he's talking about Skull and Bones. Interesting game. A new heist game called Den of Wolves is coming from 10 Chambers. No announced date on it, but they announced that. We've got Vampire, the Masquerade Blunt Hunt developer, revealed its next title game called Exoborn, which will be an open world extraction shooter. And then we had Stormgate was shown on stage, and that's an RTS game, so I know we're all excited for that. That will be early access this summer 2024, something Phil will get to look forward to. Mm-hmm. And then Palaya will come to Nintendo Switch on December 14th. It's something not mentioned in my notes, but definitely was there, was Amazon talked and showed off a little bit of the new Fallout series. Mm-hmm. So that actually looks quite good. I'm excited for the Fallout series on Amazon Prime. That was everything.
That's a collection, isn't it? Games.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a 3-hour show. It was. I think at times it did really good of being balancing a little bit of the Game Awards stuff and then the new trailer stuff. But then there were other times in the show it feels like it just kind of loses its way and gets into being, we're E3 in December and we
Right.
don't really care about the awards because the way they announce these awards is basically doing a quick little segment to show them on, like a little side panel screen being like, oh, we also gave these awards away for these people.
Right.
But let's get
And there
back
was
to
a
the
lot
world
of people
premieres.
pissed about that too. So
Well, because again, it's the Game Awards. You
Right.
should be giving time to the awards you're giving out
right.
instead of short shifting them and not even giving them stage time to say thank you for giving me this award.
Right.
Instead, you're like world premiere.
And they said they weren't going to do that either.
Yeah.
They did.
that you told me that,
Several times.
and I was like, oh, I guess maybe they're going to be serious about that. I wonder what they're going to call it. And no, they're just straight up just world premiere.
And
world
then
premiere,
Sydney got
world
on there,
premiere.
and the first thing out of her mouth was, "And here's a world premiere," and I'm like, "Well, so much for
Yeah.
that."
All right, Kim, let's dive into some new releases coming from December 10th to the 20th.
Alrighty. Scroll down there. I mean, there was a big long list of games here, and I wasn't exactly keeping up. But there was something else that night. Baldur's Gate dropped on Xbox, so
That's right.
I haven't picked it up yet, but it's on my wish list. So yeah. Anyway.
There you go.
All right, your new releases for the 10th through the 20th, because I just went to the 20th because that's where the list ended. So I figured, why not? What's an extra day? We have Bear and Breakfast for the PS5 and PS4 on December 12th. Hammer Watch 2 for the PS5 and the Switch on the 12th. Here's a big one. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake for iOS and Android on the 12th. I'm sure Pete's excited for that one. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising for the PS5, PS4, and PC on the 14th. House Flipper 2 for the PC. Apparently House Flipper 1 was so good, they come up with another one. It'll be out December 14th. Palia for the Switch on December 14th. And I think, if I remember right, it's supposed to be free, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I was pretty sure when they showed it the other night on the awards show, they said it was free. So who knows, maybe. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Indigo Disc. There's a lot of colors going on there. But that's for the Switch on December 14th. And then last but not least, we have Resident Evil 4 Remake for Mac and iOS on December 20th. And those are your new releases. Not a lot, but we're closing in on the end of the year, Christmas and all that stuff. So,
Yeah,
and according
kinda
to the
to be
list, that's
expected.
it. Yeah, right.
All right.
So there's your new
Thank you.
releases.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to kind of speed up the wrapping up of the show. So this way, done on time.
Right.
Look, Robin has gone full streamer. That he's now living his life. He has quit his job, told them to fuck off, just like Elon Musk. And he is he's now streaming multiple days. Pretty sure he is starting up his OnlyFans channel as well. That'll be coming a little
Can't
later
wait.
this week. So be prepared for that. I think the theme is bear and bush, something like that.
Bongos bits, literally.
Bongos, bits, and bush. There you go. Anyway, we're still trying to get together for Wednesday game nights. I'll be honest, it ain't happening for a little while. I'll probably be missing an action, maybe this week, but definitely not the following week. But we have been playing Halo. Firefight dropped. I'm excited. I played a little bit of it on Friday with Martin. We had just a good time with it. The Halo Infinite finally feels like feature complete. They've got Forge. They've got a ton of different maps to play through in multiplayer. They've got things like Firefight and co-op gameplay, going. So now's the time, Pete. Now's the time to get back into Halo. You want to. Oh, wait, you can't. Well, Pete, we'll play once you get Modern Warfare 3. We'll play some zombies.
Do you know I picked that up from eBay. That I've done that quite often lately. I've looked for digital codes on eBay, and I picked it up for 40 quid.
Yeah,
so it's quite a cheap deal.
That probably was the better deal than I gave myself by not waiting for Mark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, no. We'll play because they have cross-play in that. That's what's nice.
They
so
do?
we can pull in you sad little PlayStation Portal player, and we'll have some good times with that. And maybe the finals. I don't know if finals has crossover, but that could be another one. Just saying. Check it out. It's free. It's free to play. The finals. Heard good things. Snoogans. Take it with a grain of salt.
I really need to play Power Wash Simulator, which is one of the freebies on.
No, you do not.
on PlayStation.
No, you do not.
No, but I've seen it, and I was like, "Oh, I had that twitch." Greg, I'm sorry.
Pete, you have enough work to do on your boat. Stop trying to play games that are work.
It would just you know.
No, it's going to make you
settle my
angry because
OCD.
it'll make you angry because you're going to be playing the game and it's going to be all nice and clean because it looks really clean, and then you're going to go out and you're going to try and power wash in real life, and it never looks like that, Pete. Never looks like that.
I think I need to give it a go.
God rest your soul. All right.
Boy.
Let's do some shout outs. Kim, give the chat a shout out, please.
Alrighty, we've had Lord and Hardly Dan in the chat today, so thanks fellas for showing up. Appreciate it. Shout out to John Wilson. It is his birthday today, Major Revenge. So happy birthday. I think he's like 55 or something today. So happy birthday to him.
John,
Yeah.
I apologize. I meant to shout you out earlier. I'd sing you happy birthday, and I suppose I was supposed to say, hey, here's a birthday, John Mouse, John Wilson. But because I'm sorry, Major Revenge, it just doesn't do it for me.
You will always be John Mouse to us.
Exactly. And it's John Mouse. You got to say it right.
Right.
Anyway, happy birthday, old man.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it for me. I guess. I hope everybody has a good week. We will still be on calendar watch and figure something out on that. And my nephew Owen for making an appearance on the show today. So there's that. That's the tiny voice you'll hear in the background, probably. I'm not learning ventriloquism or anything like that. It's an actual person. So anyway, other than that, everybody have a good week, and I will send you over to Pete.
I'm going to shout out Shell first of all for buying me that little storage thing that's given me lots and lots and lots of games that I could just stack up and put in my library and not worry about downloading. I thought that was a real cool present. Shout out to Robin as well for getting my other little purchase. He didn't really need to do that, but he went out of his way on his day. Got me a PlayStation 4, which I thought was really kind of him. So shout out to those two. Great to be back on. Thanks for having me back on. It's nice to see your little faces, and yeah, I'll be around. I'll be around more now. I'm sorry, but there we go.
Hey, it's okay, Pete. You're not alone. Mark has been missing in action for like the better part of a century,
right?
And yet, the rumor is he might be back.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
For the Christmas show.
For the Christmas show. And then he'll disappear again, but he'll be back for one show.
All right, well, that's me. I'll leave it to you, Greg, to close the show.
Bless you. Well, hey, shout out to you, Pete. Welcome back. Really glad you were back on the show. Thank you for making the time. Kim, also, thank you for being here as usual.
Of course.
Shout out to the jobless Robin Tate. Proud of you, my son. I'm proud of you. Shout out to Mark. Just out of the blue. It's just like, hey, would you have me back? I'm like, of course. So
That's a silly question.
It is a silly question, but Mark's a silly man.
He is.
It's a fun
He really
fact.
is. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, on that note, shout out to the community. Thank you all for being here, hanging out, listening, whether you're listening live or you're listening to it on a cassette tape and an 8-track player. We don't care how you listen to us. Definitely like, subscribe if you think that at all you might want to come back at some time in the future. And even if you don't want to come back and listen to us again, if you wouldn't mind just hitting subscribe anyway, just for the shits and giggles of it all, that would be great. We'd appreciate it.
Right.
On that note, we will see you in some fashion or another next week, led by our own Robin Tate. And we'll go from there. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast. See you same time next week.